We cover crazy politicians all the time on the Young Turks, but we just want to give you a year-end wrap-up of some of the craziest things that they have said. Now, the list is too big to show you all of the insane things that these politicians have said, but we're going to give you a nice sampling. We're going to start out nice and easy. We're going to go to Michael Grimm. He's a Republican of New York. He had one of my favorite quotes of the year when he told a reporter, "You ever do that to me again," which was to ask him a real question on air, "I'll throw you off this fucking balcony. I'll break you in half like a boy." I don't know why he breaks boys in half. I don't think I want to know more about that. All right, but Michael Grimm starts us off with our crazy quotes of the year. Then we go to Representative Michael Burgess. He's a Republican of Texas. He says, "You watch a sonogram of a 15-week baby, and they have movements that are purposeful. They stroke their face. If they're a male baby, they may have their hand between their legs. I mean, they feel pleasure. So why is it so hard to think that they could feel pain?" Now, first of all, obviously that's made up. There's no way of knowing whether they feel pleasure or pain as a 15-week-old fetus inside their mom's womb. But they're certainly not masturbating. He thinks the fetus is masturbating. These are our politicians, our representatives. The good people in Texas must be so proud. Okay, we're going to stay with Republicans in Texas when we go to Joe Barton. Joe Barton, unbelievably, apologized to BP during the hearings about the Gulf oil spill. He said, "I'm sorry that we brought you out here to have to deal with all this." They did one of the worst disasters, environmental disasters in American history. Yeah, you should have hearings about it, see what went wrong, see if you can fix it for the future. But he apologized. And why? He's among the congressmen who gets the most amount of money from the energy industry. Of course, he works for them. That's why he's apologizing. So when challenged on how absurd that sounded, he gave this great quote. "If anything I said this morning has been misconstrued to the opposite effect, I want to apologize for that misconstrued misconstruction." Oh, okay, well, at least that's clear. What's really clear is who you work for. All right, now we go to attacks against President Obama. State Representative Gordon Kleinschmidt from Colorado is a character. He believes that you can do exorcisms on people. He thinks he's done it to lesbians to cure them of their lesbianism, and he apparently thinks that President Obama needs one. He says, "Father in heaven, we pray against the domestic enemies of the Constitution, against this demon of tyranny who's using the White House occupant, and that demonic spirit is oppressing us." He believes there's literally a demon inside of President Obama. Okay, interesting. These are our representatives. All right, then we go to State Representative Kelly Keisling from Tennessee, also on Obama. He says Obama officials planned a staged assassination attempt on the life of President Obama that would be blamed on white supremacists and subsequently used to enrage black and Hispanic communities, driving them to rioting all across the nation. Now, this hasn't happened yet, but he's giving us a warning. It's obvious that Obama's planning to assassinate himself so he can enrage Hispanics and blacks. I mean, it's all staged, of course, so he won't die. Yeah, that's likely. These guys are the most embarrassing people in the world. Okay, now we go back to the U.S. Congress. Representative Mark Walker, Republican of North Carolina. It's not surprising that Republicans have the wacky theories on President Obama. He believes that he's going to stay in office past 2 terms. Now, that would be unconstitutional, and he wouldn't be allowed to do that. But Walker thinks he's going to do it anyway. Why is that? He says, "I don't think that's out of the question. I think he's gotten pretty comfortable up there, spending all those billions of dollars on vacations for he and his family." Really? We spent billions on Obama vacations? I know the presidential vacations cost us a pretty penny from time to time. President Obama is nothing compared to President Bush, who broke the record on presidential vacations, but I'm pretty sure even President Bush was not in the billions spent on that, and that's probably not the reason he would violate the Constitution to get a 3rd term. I don't believe. Okay. But these guys are quite serious about all this. Representative Walker has more wacky theories. He says, if you have foreigners who are sneaking in with drug cartels, to me that is a national threat. And if we got to go laser or blitz somebody with a couple of fighter jets for a little while to make our point, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, it sounds funny, the laser or blitz. He's also, by the way, saying, let's execute people trying to cross the border. Let's drop bombs on them, kill them, for a little while and see how that goes. Okay, but Representative Walker isn't done. He's really trying to get the award for craziest politician. He says, I would beg to differ that Islam is a religion of peace, because you can't have a religion of peace when you've got nearly 1 billion people chopping off heads all over the country. That statement has a couple of problems. Now, look, he's not the only one saying Islam is not a religion of peace. That's fairly standard at this point among Republicans. I'm pretty sure there aren't 1 billion people chopping heads off all over which country? I don't know. Certainly not the U.S., but name any country you like, and I can guarantee you there aren't billions of Muslims chopping heads off. This is exactly what's the problem with these right-wingers. They see extremists on one side, and they go, you see, that's it, that's all of them. Now, if you said that about Christians, they'd lose their mind. How dare you persecute us Christians, right? But for them, if one Muslim did it, then billions are doing it. All right, now we go to Representative Steve King, go back to immigrants. This is one of the best quotes in a long time. He said, for every undocumented immigrant who's a valedictorian, there's another 100 out there who weigh 130 pounds, and they've got calves the size of cantaloupes because they're hauling 75 pounds of marijuana across the desert. Now, one of the things I love about that quote is how specific it is. They're 130 pounds, okay, and they're hauling 75 pounds of marijuana. He knows it. It's science. Okay, thank you for that clarification and the nice symbolism there of the cantaloupe calves. Okay, hard to forget that one. Then we go to Governor Paul LePage, who is the maniac up in Maine. He, for once, said the Democratic state legislators there were giving it to the people of Maine from the backside, and they weren't using Vaseline. Okay, it's among the fun things that he said. And when defending the idea of exposing the good people of Maine to dangerous chemicals and saying we shouldn't regulate them, he said, look, quote, put it in the microwave and you heat it up. It gives off a chemical similar to estrogen. So the worst case is some women may have little beards. Oh, okay. That doesn't seem like a good case scenario. It seems like that might be kind of dangerous. And he's like, have at it, Hoss, who cares? Now, Virginia Fox is another Republican in Congress. I don't have a quote on this. She generally said, I love this. She said that the 16th Amendment might be unconstitutional. The problem with that is that it's in the Constitution. Okay, that's a genius right there. But they all pale next to Representative Joni Ernst, Republican of Georgia, claiming 4 blood moons falling on major Jewish holidays could be a sign of the world changing, shaking type of events. Interesting point there. 3 blood moons wouldn't have done it, but if you've got 4 blood moons and they're not falling on Buddhist holidays, they're falling on Jewish holidays. Boom, cataclysm. So, makes an interesting point there. All these politicians representing you all got fascinating points. America, we are so proud.